3 stories, 3 rock bottoms, sober celebrities now at the top of their game, but at one point they were at the lowest of their low. One celebrity was canned from a hit series with Jennifer Garner. Another one was found by his wife and daughter when he was passed out on the floor surrounded by paraphernalia. And the third celebrity was told by a doctor that he would die if he continued to drink. But now look at them. They are all massive Hollywood successes, and some even have Academy Award nomination. But whose story is whose? Well, stick around to the very end to find out. First off, the infamous Rocket the Raccoon from Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. But of course, I'm not actually talking about the character itself, but I am talking about the amazing voice and actor behind Rocket the Raccoon, the one and only Bradley Cooper. Now, before he became the famous superhero raccoon, of course amongst many other amazing roles, Bradley Cooper faced his own battles, including struggles with alcohol and cocaine addiction that almost ended and ruined his career. While he gained early recognition on the hit show Alias with Jennifer Garner, his journey took a dark turn when, well, he was let go from the series, which plunged him into a pretty deep state of depression as the story goes, and uncertainty around the job loss, a lack of self-worth, and an injury that left him questioning if his career path was ever going to turn into a successful acting career.
I severed my Achilles tendon right after I got fired / quit Alias. And I was addicted to cocaine. I was so lost.
But fate intervened in 2004 by the way of Will Arnett, who had a very pivotal and honest conversation with Cooper that made Bradley Cooper aware that something had to change.
He was like, hey man, do you remember we had dinner the other night? And he goes, how'd you think that went? Arnett told me, he's like, you were a real asshole, man. You were a real asshole. And I was like, what? And that was like the first time I ever realized I had a problem with drugs and alcohol.
And it was that honest conversation from a peer that he respected that made the difference.
He took that risk of having that hard conversation with me that put me on a path of deciding to change my life. And it is truly Will Arnett. He is the reason.
And from then on out, in 2004, Bradley Cooper altered the path of his life back towards who he wanted to become, not only on screen, but also off screen. And because of sobriety and recovery, he gave himself the chance to land a breakout role in The Hangover, which then paved the way for movies like American Sniper, Silver Linings Playbook, which gained him an Oscar nomination, and then eventually his portrayal of Jackson Maine in A Star is Born, a movie that he co-starred with Lady Gaga and directed that showcased not only his directorial talents and his acting talents, but it also allowed him to tap into the immense depth of his personal journey, for which he was able to draw upon, well, his own experiences with addiction that allowed him to breathe life into that character.
I'm Jack, I'm an alcoholic.
And then let's not forget that most recently, he directed and portrayed Leonard Bernstein in Maestro, for which he and the movie received so many Oscar nominations. So congrats to Bradley Cooper and his achievements. Because of sobriety and recovery, he got sober in 2004 and is 20 years sober this year. Now, if you thought that was an inspiring story, please stick around until the end of the video, because the final celebrity at one point was facing 14 years in prison because of grand theft auto. Who could it be? Well, stay tuned to find out. But next up is Nick Fury, aka the one and only Samuel L. Jackson. Come on, who doesn't know who Samuel L. Jackson is, even before his iconic and amazing role as Nick Fury? Before that, he was already a massive star and success in Hollywood. In my opinion, he is absolutely the epitome of coolness and charisma, but his journey to stardom wasn't always so easy. Years and years before he would ever become the legendary Nick Fury, Jackson battled demons of his own.
What was your drug of choice? Was it crack?
That was my drug of choice. Alcohol was my drug of choice. The drug of choice was the drug that was in front of me.
Little backstory on Samuel L. Jackson. After delving into acting in college, Jackson eventually moved to New York City to pursue his passion and desire to be an actor, but it wasn't long before the allure of drugs began to overtake his life.
That's what we did. We would drink, we would rehearse, we would smoke reefer and rehearse. We drank at half hour and we sat around and we got ready to do the play.
In an interview, he's quoted saying,
I never knew another way to do it, so I functioned that way, and it was fine. I knew my lines and I knew the dramatic intent and everything else.
And this went on until the early 1990s, when his rock bottom finally came knocking, when his wife and young daughter discovered him passed out on the floor one morning, surrounded by paraphernalia.
I mean, the day they found me passed out on the kitchen floor, next day I was in rehab. She called my best friend from high school, who was a drug counselor, and he found a bed for me. upstate New York. So I went straight in there. I didn't go in kicking and screaming. I went in, I was tight.
So in 1991, Jackson made the courageous decision to seek help, and he embarked on a journey towards sobriety that would ultimately change his life forever.
And it wasn't until I got clean that I started to connect emotionally to the roles, which was, a whole nother, revelation to me.
Now he is over 30 years sober, and his movies have grossed over $7.1 billion in the US and over $16 billion internationally because of sobriety and recovery. Jackson has become a force to be reckoned with in Hollywood, and since he's gotten sober, honestly, he's starred in far too many movies to list, but to put it simply, could you imagine anyone else being Nick Fury that we all know and love?
Say hell no, motherfuckers!
Hell no is right. Thanks so much, Samuel L. Jackson, for setting such an amazing example about what sobriety and recovery can offer us all if we just give ourselves a chance. And last but certainly not least is Tom Hardy. I know that Venom is not necessarily a hero per se. Well, he is kind of like the bad boy of heroes, at least in the way that he is presented by Tom Hardy.
I have a parasite. Yeah. Name is Jen.
Parasite?
Yeah, it's a term of endearment, that's all.
Apologize!
That's why he's included in this list, but more so because, well, Tom Hardy simply has an amazing story. His early years were marked by turmoil and addiction.
You, I believe, have had a period where you were a little more kind of social than perhaps is sensible.
I don't think I was social. I think that's why I stopped,
So it was a bit mental?
Yes.
He was kicked out of boarding school at 16. The following year, he got arrested for car theft and possession of a gun and was facing up to 14 years in prison at the young age of 16 years old. All of these antics and habits continued well into his early 20s.
So you would black out?
Of course.
And this was what, alcohol?
Yeah, and everything else.
All the different substances available?
Yeah.
Because in an interview with the Daily Mirror newspaper, he's quoted saying, "If I had 4 pints of lager and half a bottle of vodka, I could turn this room into an absolute nightmare in about 3 minutes. I could destroy everything in my life I've worked so hard for." But it wasn't until 2003 when Hardy hit rock bottom, when he woke up in Soho lying in a puddle of his own blood and vomit. And it was at that time that he was told by a doctor, quote, "You can go down that road, Tom. You won't come back. That's it. All you need to know." He went to rehab that very same year, and he successfully completed a 28-day program, and he was 25 years old when his sober journey began in 2004. And even though he currently admits that the battle to stay sober and fight his addiction is sometimes a daily thing.
I'm an addict and alcoholic, so I have my ups and downs, and my head is a bit wonky. So I have to look after that, do you know what I mean?
And then what has his sobriety and recovery journey gained him? He's married, he's a father of 3, he's made tons of movies and played many roles that we all know him for. He had his breakout role in Bronson, which led eventually to captivating performances as Bane in The Dark Knight Rises. And then, of course, he is the Jewish gangster Alfie Solomon in Peaky Blinders, which I absolutely love. And then there's the amazing movies of Inception, Warrior, and then of course his portrayal of the Cray brothers in Legend, which is phenomenal. And Venom 2 was in the top 10 grossing movies of 2021. But what is more impressive than what he's done on screen is what he's done off screen. In real life, he is still a hero, even more so than he is on screen, because he pays it forward. He teaches others and supports others in their recovery by being an ambassador for the charity Prince's Trust, which is his way of ensuring that young people get a second chance, much like he did.
That's why something Prince's Trust is awesome, because there's going to be someone there who's got the right pair of ears at the right time and might pass you on to the right person for you.
So thank you so much, Tom Hardy, for all you do, and thank you for being an amazing example of someone who sticks with their sobriety and recovery even when it's hard, because you have proven that it can pay off and the work is worth it. And now you, my friend, my viewer, if any of this resonates with you, if you're inspired, if you feel like you want to start your road to redemption and your recovery today, I hope that you check out this video right here, because it contains a free digital download and a powerful guide that could help you with the first few steps towards your own story of redemption and resilience. So check out that video right now, and I'll talk to you really soon. Bye.